Welcome back to another no-holds-barred episode of BlackBeardLogic, where we cut through the noise, expose the shadows, and arm you with the logic to navigate this chaotic world. Tonight, I have a powerhouse guest joining me, my good friend Tony Gehrig, who's gearing up for a run for the Fargo City Commission. Folks, Tony was once the most fiscally conservative commissioner the city had ever seen, a real guardian of your hard-earned tax dollars. But right now, Team Fargo's fiscal house is a mess, spending like there's no tomorrow while the rest of us foot the bill. We're going to dive deep into why we need to rally behind Tony, help him reclaim that seat, and get our city back on the path to financial sanity. Tony, welcome aboard, brother. Let's talk solutions. But that's just the start. We'll be breaking down the ongoing border crisis and how it's not just a policy failure, but a full-blown invasion that's straining our resources and our sovereignty. Then you have the curious case of Ilhan Omar, entering Congress back in 2019 with a net worth of $46,000, and now she's reportedly sitting on over $30 million. How does that happen? Make that math for me. We will unpack the deals, the influence, and what it says about the swamp in D.C. And speaking of wisdom from the wise, Judge Joe Brown is dropping serious truth bombs. I'm gonna play them and then dissect them piece by piece, because in times like these, we need voices like his to cut through the deception. Finally, we're gonna get real about what's wrong with our entire system. I believe we have a corrupted base image at our core, and it's infested with demonic malware that's twisting and turning everything from our laws to our culture. The only real mitigation that I see, a full system reboot. Replace that bad software with what I'm calling Christ OS. It's time to restore faith, morality, and unshakable principles to heal this nation. All this and more on tonight's edition of BlackBeardLogic. Stay tuned. We're just getting started. Welcome back. I am Leon Francis. This is BlackBeardLogic, and I'm on with a good friend of mine, a former and hopefully future Fargo City Commissioner, Tony Gehrig. How you doing, buddy?
Good, Leon. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a long time.
Been a while. I mean, it has been a very long time, man. And I've been kind of following you, through the socials and all that. I know that you're in paradise right now while we got walloped by just tons of snow.
Yeah, I heard. I saw that. Yeah. I still got the ring doorbells on my camera, so around the house. So I saw what's happening in my backyard.
I don't know how bad it was in Fargo, but out here where I am, like if you look at some of the pictures that my wife posts, the one good thing about all this snow is you can build your kid one solid, huge snow fort. And I got a Bobcat. So
right on.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
We had all kinds of fun after, the sleet and the snow and all that stuff. But anyway, you know what's not fun? Going to Fargo anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. The crime is up. The credit score is low. It's down. They're doing all kinds. I don't know what's going on there, man. And we need somebody to fix it. And the folks that are in my ear want you to come back. So I want to just kind of throw a couple of things at you, a couple of topics at you, and just kind of see where you're at on those topics. And they're all pertaining to Fargo. Now, folks that know me know that I used to live in Fargo. I used to love it in Fargo, and then it just started getting crazy. And then the more I look back, the crazy just doesn't stop. And I call the current city commission the Chuckle Nut crew. because to me, they're a bunch of chuckle nuts sitting up there. So I'm going to start right off with this. We had somewhat, well, no, we did have a major win yesterday when it comes to, yeah, the whole building going up and the incentive, the tax incentives and all of that. So do you want to talk about that? What are your thoughts on first of all, them offering that apartment complex, the incentives that they did? I think it was for like 15 years, 20 years, something like that.
It was 15 on top of the Renaissance, so it ended up being 20 total of the same type of incentive.
Yeah, and then when you dig down into the numbers, and I did a whole show on it. When you dig down into the numbers, one, they're not affordable. Two, like the vacancy rate in Fargo is like, well, downtown Fargo is like 18%. It's crazy. So nobody's asking for it. So I want to, before I just kind of fly off the handle here, I want to ask your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so the apartment complex being 262 units, like you said, they're not affordable. They're very, very standard rates. And the one way they try to make it more affordable is they didn't give the price for parking, which is, hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month, obviously, because you can't just park on the street in downtown with a 300-unit apartment complex. That wouldn't fit. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't get approved. So they got the city commission to go along with an incentive for 20 years, a Renaissance zone for 5, pilot 15. It's the same thing. You just don't pay tax on your improvements. That equals out to about $700,000 every year for the next 20 years if that was all approved. Half of which would go to the schools if it would come from the schools. $350,000 that they're not going to see for 20 plus years. That ROI doesn't work. We also have to recognize the county commission voted unanimously. They're putting up $150,000 themselves, and we need to recognize that they unanimously voted against this because they saw that this is not a good investment. We're not investing well. You can't just invest everything you have. You got to pay your bills, Leon, before you can invest your money. You're not buying silver and gold if you've got to borrow money to buy your bread and milk. Okay, that's what the city of Fargo is doing. We say everything's an investment, and because we say investment, you're supposed to say, "Oh my goodness, they're investing. That must be a good thing for our future." It's not a good thing if you're massively in debt. City of Fargo is $1 billion+ in debt. And most that's because we're borrowing money for special assessments. So the school board, usually, this is a really big deal. This is a seismic shift in what we're doing in the city of Fargo now. The school board has not voted on any incentive for about a decade. It's been going on for as long as we can remember. 20, 25, the longest incentive we had in the city of Fargo was 42 years, okay?
Okay, on that point, why have they not? In 2017, I think we passed a law that said that
basically they have to.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But you're saying for a decade they just abdicated that responsibility? Yeah,
it sounds more like 8 years. I guess I shouldn't be exaggerating. So for 8 years, the state has said that they have the ability and the responsibility to take care of their own mills. If they want an incentive approved, they have to approve it themselves. They can't have the city of Fargo do it for them. So what the stance of the school board has been for those 8 years is to simply not vote. Well, if you don't vote against it, de facto, you vote for it. That's how the law works. So if you don't have a vote specifically saying we reject this proposal for the school board, so then it won't pass. But if you don't have that vote at all, it will absolutely pass 100% of the time. That's exactly what the school board has been doing for all this time. So finally, now that they're in as much fiscal problems as the city of Fargo is, they're in debt. They're not balancing their budget. Their revenues aren't going up as fast as their costs are. Their reserves are going down. Okay, same as Fargo, right? We're all spending money here. So they finally realized that, we need this money. If they're going to build things, we need that money to come in order to pay for those increases in costs. If you build a 300-unit apartment complex, some of those people will be kids. Okay. Yep. Those kids have to go to school. They go to school for free on the taxpayer's dime. If you don't take any taxes in to support those new kids, then what happens, Leon? You have to take more money from the existing taxpayer. That's exactly what these incentives are. This is not an investment. This is not a good idea. These incentives have not worked out for the city of Fargo. We've tried this experiment for 40 plus years, and we see the financial straits that we're in. The only way incentives work is if they're short-term and targeted. You do an incentive for 5 years, you stop. You see if it works for that amount of time. Okay, look, it worked. So now we can try this again now. We've had our foot on the gas for ever since Tim became mayor, 15 years. Foot has been on the gas this entire time, and it hasn't stopped. And it's been going more and more and more. These incentives are getting longer, they're getting more expensive, and finally, we have the school board, and finally, we have the county commission waking up and saying, we don't have any money. You can't invest money you don't have. And I hope I answered your question, Leon.
You did a little bit, and it merits saying that not all the entire, it wasn't like all of them voted, to scrap this thing. I think there were like 4 of them.
Correct.
And I'm shaking my head. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yep.
and that brings me to this point. What do you think? Like, Tim's a bright guy. I mean, like, he's a doctor or something, right?
Yeah, he's a surgeon.
Yeah, Pepcorn was a small business owner, really profitable guy. I thought he was fiscally conservative, but what goes through their mind when you're looking at the financials and you're looking at like Moody's downgrading them and that sort of thing, and then they're just handing out money like chiclets? What do you think is going through their heads, or why? What would be the incentive for them to disincentivize growth in Fargo, that the revenue in Fargo, the credit score, all of that? What would be the incentive for that?
They get to be the big guy on campus. People have to come to them to ask to improve their company or to come to Fargo. And we get to decide if you get that money or not. And they like to feel like big men doing that for that amount of money. Otherwise, you're not going to get that money, right? What we've proven here in the city of Fargo is if you reduce the tax burden on a certain area of Fargo, you will get more growth. What we've also proven is if you increase the tax burden on the rest of Fargo, you will see more debt and less growth, if not no growth. You will see decline. You have neighborhoods in North Fargo that are open houses that are now all rentals because we're disincentivizing buying those houses while we incentivize buying new houses. And we wonder why the north side is becoming the way it looks. It's becoming decrepit, and it's not being fixed up like it used to be because people are being incentivized to buy in South Fargo instead. These incentives pick winners and losers. That's what they want. They want to pick winners and losers. They get to go to the builders and say, look at us. I'm helping you build more homes. They get to go to realtors and say, look at us. We're helping you sell more homes. Okay. They get to go to all the Chamber of Commerce and say, look how much we've built. Dave Pepcorn literally said that he should have his name on the side of Block 9 because we gave them $30 million in incentives. He said that at the meeting. Wow. They think they're building Fargo. They think that because they are a city commissioner and the mayor, that they're the ones who are literally creating the wealth in Fargo. When what they're doing is they're shifting the wealth. They're hiding the losses. And the promise of all these profits in the future have not happened. They have not happened anywhere near where we were promised they would be. If I tell you, Leon, that if you give me $1 million today, in 25 years, I'll give you $1 million and $1, would you do it? You wouldn't do it. That's the ROI is ridiculous. It takes 30, 40 years for us to get our money back from these investments. If that investment is a parking ramp, that parking ramp may not be there anymore. That business may not be there anymore. And they're also assuming that nothing would be created and nothing would be built without incentives. No business will come to Fargo without incentives. We know that's not true. The vast majority of businesses that come to Fargo and stay in Fargo are not incentivized. So this program is unneeded. It's been proven ineffective. We're harming parts of Fargo while we're trying to build other parts up, that being downtown. And all the meantime, the commissioners get to look at the city and say, look what I did for you. I created wealth in downtown. Downtown is great because of me. Put my name on it.
So, and all of that makes sense to me. What does not make sense to me is, and we're going to talk about this in a second here, like they all seem to just kind of focus on downtown Fargo. Mm-hmm. Like nobody else is represented. And that's my humble opinion. they seem like you got like John Strand, you got Mahoney, you got Pepcorn, you got
Yep.
all of these people that seem, and it seems like they're just laser focused right there downtown Fargo. They want to make that thing a metropolis badly, and then the outlying the suburbs and South Fargo and North Fargo. They're like, hey, what about us? And so in comes the idea of the ward system. So kind of break that down for me. I know that I mean, I read your article, man. I posted it and I referenced it when I was talking to Darius from Fargo First, and those guys love you, man. They got. I'm looking at the 12 Days of Christmas right here. Have you seen this thing?
I did.
And endorse Tony Gehrig, future Fargo City Commissioner. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the ward system and why it's needed.
So I'm on the sponsoring committee. It's me, Arlette Preston, a couple other people in the city of Fargo, like Marty Risky. And so you have, left, right, we're agreeing. Sometimes if it's just a good idea and its time has come, left and right can agree, right? So Arlette and I don't agree on most things, but on this one we absolutely agree. And when you can work with the other side, you should. So we decided to go ahead and get this thing started. So we got a petition going. What that petition says is that the city of Fargo will go from a commission-style government, a commission-style government where everyone votes for all the representatives, meaning every election cycle, 2 commissioners are going to come up, and everyone's going to vote for those 2 commissioners. And then the mayor comes up and everyone votes for him. You're going to go to a ward system where you're going to have 6 different cubes in the city of Fargo, from North Fargo to middle of Fargo to South Fargo. And in those cubes, you're going to have one person representing each part or each cube, each ward, each district is what it's going to be. So one person will represent that part, and only the people from that part will vote for that person. Just like we do for the state legislature, right? So it's not a wild idea. It's not a new idea. And by the way, almost every city in the country does it this way. Okay. So the city of Fargo is the largest city in the country to use a commission style government. The second largest is Bismarck. Okay. So this is kind of a North Dakota thing. All right. We're the only city with 100,000 people that do this. Okay. So we are the outlier here. We need to update what we're doing. And just like to your point, Leon, what we're finding is if you elect at large, you end up getting laser focused in one part of town. The biggest voting block right now is downtown Fargo because it's the densest area. So if you improve that area, you get a lot more votes, right? Yep. Now in South Fargo, you're much more spread out. So you're less likely to get attention because you're just building new houses and you're building new roads, and we'll get to you later. But right now we want to pack more people into downtown, right? So it's important to have representation. This ward system will do that. You'll have 6 council members. You'll have a mayor. The mayor will be at large. Everything else works the same. They vote the same. The mayor will only vote on a tiebreaker. By the way, he does that now. He's the last vote every time. So he's essentially the tiebreaker every time. But in this case, if he won't vote unless it's needed. So I'm high on this one. I'm really excited about this. We're more than halfway to getting the signatures required. We need volunteers. If you want people to volunteer, that'd be fantastic. And we're almost there. So I think it's a great system. Its time has come, and I think you'll get better representation for the city of Fargo when you're talking to each part of town instead of mostly talking to people in downtown. And the last thing I'll say to this, Leon, is when I was first elected, 3 commissioners were south of 40th Avenue within a block of each other. Me, Tony Grimberg, and the mayor. Okay. In the next election cycle, and during my second term, 2018 it was, I moved to North Fargo. So in that cycle, 4 of us lived north of Main. North of Main. So from Main Avenue all the way down to 70th, whatever, South Fargo, the mayor was your only representative. Wow. That's not right, and that can't continue.
Yeah, you absolutely. You don't have representation if the folks that would represent you, and which brings me to this. And I asked Darius this. Like, I see nothing but positive for a ward system. Nothing but positive. Are there any dissenting voices, and do they bring any concrete cons to the table?
Yeah, so I want to point out real quickly that the ward system is not best for every city, right? Not every city should have a ward system. I do not believe Horace, North Dakota should have a ward system. Okay, they have a council or a commission right now. That works good for them. They're a town of what, 6,000 or 7,000 people. That's good. You should keep it that way. Don't change it. West Fargo is probably on the cusp, one way or another. What people say bad about the ward system is you'll have infighting. So the North Siders will be against the South Siders. The downtowners will be against everybody. The money will be torn in different directions and all that. I don't find that to be true at all. We have different needs in the city of Fargo. In North Fargo, we talk a lot about things like trees. All right. In South Fargo, you talk a lot of, in South Fargo, they don't know where trees are. And they talk about snow removal being one of the biggest problems down there. So this isn't about, pitting one side of Fargo against the other. This is about having a voice. And will those voices disagree? Yes. And they should, Leon. There shouldn't be 5-0 votes on all these things. There shouldn't be 4-1 votes on all these things. There should be dissenting voices on everything because no one agrees on anything. So how are we getting 5-0 votes on everything? You know what I mean? So the biggest downside people will say is, one, it'll cause a rift between the council members. And two, the second one is they don't know if enough people will run for office to have 6 people on there in a ward like that. I am guaranteeing you there's going to be 2 or 3 people running every election in each ward because it's so much easier to run in a ward than for the entire city. It is daunting to run the city of Fargo. It is expensive, not for me. I do everything myself. But people spend $100,000 to run as city commissioner. The last person I beat spent $100,000 in the race where I beat him by 1,000 votes, okay? And I spent 4. But the normal people out there have jobs, they have kids, they have lives, they have things to do besides campaign. You can't knock on every door. Well, if you live in downtown, or if you live in, let's say you live by Lindenwood Park, and that's one of the districts, you almost could knock on every door. If you were committed, you probably could knock on every door. So instead of campaigning for 130,000 people, you're campaigning for 22,000 people in each district.
And see, I'd heard I'd heard that argument. That's the one that I had heard, that we may not have the candidates to run in these wards, and then they won't be represented. And I just didn't find that credible.
No.
I also happen to believe that infighting is good. When our country was set up, the way we were set up, folks had that same argument. They're never going to agree on anything. Well, I think that, having people disagree on spending more of your money is probably a good thing, because then you won't get your credit downgraded because a couple of idiots are spending like drunken soldiers. I mean,
well, let me give my favorite example of why we should have wards, okay, and why infighting should be a good thing. 32nd Avenue South. 32nd Avenue South is a major throughway. It is a highway. It is a way for people to get from the west side to the east side and the east side to the west side every morning and every evening. It's packed with tens of thousands of cars every single day. That road needed to be redone. By redone, I mean it needed to be built up, take it all out, and repaved because it takes a beating every year. Okay, so the commissioners, in all their wisdom, decided to make that more walkable. They said, well, we made Main Avenue more walkable. That's actually a real highway. Why can't we make 32nd Avenue more walkable? Anyone who lives in South Fargo knows 32nd Avenue doesn't have houses along the street. It doesn't even have small businesses that face 32nd Avenue. None of them do, okay? So to have the discussion about making 32nd Avenue more walkable just proves you don't know what you're talking about because you aren't from that area. Because you live in downtown, because you live in North Fargo, you might visit that area once, twice, 3 times a year, whereas I'm driving that road every single day and you're going to make it more walkable. What does that mean, Leon? You narrow the roads and you add more walking lanes and bike lanes. Okay, you're taking away turning lanes. What does that do? It adds to your commute every single day. This is why we need ward.
Yeah. Last topic I want to tackle is your thoughts on the convention center.
Yeah, this should be put to bed immediately. This is another way for us to spend tons of money that we don't have. Folks, we are going to borrow $80 million and we have no way to pay it back. The tax that we currently have will not cover that money. It will not cover it, okay? So even the city of Fargo itself has said that if we take out the loan that they're asking them to take, this will be a $120 million project by the time we pay off the loan. Okay, and it's going to be more than that. Okay, interest rates are going up for these folks, for these type of things. Okay, I don't buy that number. I think it's going to be much, much higher than that number. So
I was going to make that point. I was going to make that point. I remember you back in the day when they were talking about that the building down there that's facing the river. You know, the
City
city.
Hall.
Yeah, and
Yeah, City Hall.
yeah, and I remember the number that they threw out there, and it was only Tony saying, "No, that's not going to be the." And you were right, not by just a little.
I undercut it. So Tim Mahoney was saying it was going to be 15 million. I said it was going to be 30. It was 34.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
and I was called crazy. I was called, Chicken Little, saying the sky's going to fall because I'm making up numbers out of thin air. Well, that was pretty darn close.
and we should all take that into account. If they're saying what's the number for the convention center?
Now that I think about it, there's three different good credit, bad credit, high amount loan, low amount loan. So I think that they're looking at what they think they'll borrow. Now that I think about it, is somewhere around 50 million. Don't quote me. I think it is like 50 million. But that end number is still true. The $120 million at the end after all the tax or after all the interest is paid after 30 years of loans. That's what they're saying it's going to be. So I think that's way up. I think it's going to go way up higher than that. They're not going to be within budget. And if they go downtown with this thing, you got to demolish certain parts of town. Yep. That's going to be extra money. At least at the Dome, it's kind of a clean slate. Not that I'm for this thing, but at least it's there. It's ready to be built up. So I think it's a complete disaster. We don't have the money. This is more debt. Leon, $1 billion plus dollars in debt. And we're going to build $100 million, $120 million convention center because we think that's pretty cool.
Do we even need it? Do we need a new convention center, do you think?
No, it really depends on what your goals are. If you want Terry Bradshaw to come and talk in front of 50 or 20,000 people or 10,000 people, yeah, you're going to need that. But that happens so rarely in the city of Fargo. We have space. We have a dome, okay? If you have a huge event, you have a dome, all right? If there was a demand for this type of center where you needed 5,000 people or 3,000 people in a room, someone would have built that thing already, all right? The private sector knows what they're doing. If they can make money doing it, they will do it. And I'm glad I said that. I reminded myself, this thing is going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in operating costs. That's not even counting the debt services, the paying back of the loan, okay? But just in operational costs, it will lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what these people are saying, what these commissioners are saying is, the proponents are like, well, it's a loss leader. It's a good thing because it's bringing people into town, then they'll spend their money. So if we lose a little bit of tax money, that's okay because everyone else is going to benefit. I don't own a hotel. Yeah. I don't own a food truck or a restaurant. I'm just paying more in taxes. And you're telling me that's a good thing for me. For the vast majority of Fargo residents, it's not a good deal. Some people are making it like bandits, and some people are getting taxed more. We are picking winners and losers again in this game. It's a bad philosophy.
And again, it's like you're peeing on my leg and telling me it's raining. And wait, no. So you mentioned that you guys are halfway there for your signatures. Where can folks sign up or go get more information or volunteer or where can they go to do that?
I appreciate you asking. I should have mentioned that right away. FargoWards.com, FargoWards.com. If you search Fargo Wards on Facebook, Fargo Wards on Facebook, we have an email address. We have a phone number. It's all me. So if you call that number, it's me. If you email that email, it's me. And then we'll be at the...
I will put that information right here. So,
and we will be at the Sportsman Show in March, early March. We're gonna get a booth. So I think if we get that booth, we're gonna get the signatures we need to finish this out. But if you do want to help and gather in your neighborhood, or we have other events that people go to, they walk to certain places and they'll do that. In the winter, it's a little harder. But if you want to be put on that list to know how to volunteer, email me, call me at FargoWards.com, Fargo Wards on Facebook.
FargoWards.com. Yeah, now I have all that information right here. So, Tony, anything else you want to leave the folks with?
I could talk to you all day, Leon, but I know you're busy. I know you have other guests, so I just appreciate it. And it's really important to watch how these guys are spending your money because we are in a really tight spot. The city of Fargo, if we do not correct course immediately with this election cycle, we are in a heap of trouble. our credit score will dump, and that will increase our debt by even more and more. It's like the national debt, exponential growth in the debt is what we're going to see. We will never be able to pay it off. And that's when you're going to see real cuts to the government. You're actually going to see real cuts that we can't control. Less police officers, less firemen, right? Not hiring new librarians. You're going to see a total freeze in hiring of these new employees, a total freeze in new buildings for the city of Fargo. And less, you can see less and less roads being repaired. This is how a city dies. And we're going right down that road.
Tony Gehrig, man, there has been a lack of fiscal conservatism in the Fargo City Commission since you left. So, my listeners know this. Like, I'm 100% on board. I like the ward system. I really like fiscally conservative people. Michelle seems to be the only other person up there with a modicum of common sense. So, I for one will be happy if you become the future Fargo City Commissioner. So.
I'm announcing my intent in January, Leon. So you'll know shortly.
Sorry, man. I didn't know that you were holding that close to vest.
No, I have a page. I have a Facebook page. I have all that. It's totally fine.
Okay.
But I'm not in Fargo right now, so I wanted to make a real official announcement to and all that stuff while I'm live in town.
Awesome. Tony Gehrig, I'm Leon Francis. This is BlackBeardLogic. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey, it's Leon Francis from BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. I'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
When you want it done right, go where lemons go. Kalen's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalen and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just 1 block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemon. Kalen's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
LAUER Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Give them a call at 701-258-6308. The team of mechanics at LAUER Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with LAUER, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. LAUER Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at LAUER Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's LAUER Auto Repair, 701-258-6308. 701-258-6308. Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Come on, no.
Welcome back. It's Leon Francis with BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
Okay, let's go.
I am Leon Francis of BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it. So I saw this on Real America's Voice. I'm going to play the video, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about this whole thing. If you got a beer, you're going to want to take a good long pull off that thing. I'll wait till you do it. Grab a pull. Grab it. Grab it. Now watch this.
Hey, nigga! Hey, shoot, man! Nigga, I'm illegal, nigga! Bitch ass nigga!
Shit, I just... Get him out of here. Make America great again. I'm John Fitzgerald, and I am a MAGA. Make America great again. Get him the hell out of here. Get him the hell out of here.
You hear the way these guys are talking to him?
Yeah, no, I want him gone. I want him out of here. They are the most unfriendly. We live right across the street from them. And there's been times where this whole cul-de-sac has been completely lined with Mercedes, BMWs,
And this is how they talk. Second generation.
Come here. Hey, I'm right here though.
Unbelievable. This is the problem. You got the second, third generation here. You invited them in, invite the illegals in, and then they have kids that hate this country, are taught to hate this country. And then you got neighbors living right across the street that have to deal with it.
There might be repercussions for me because, but 15, 20, 25 know where I live. I ain't afraid.
Yeah.
I'm not backing down.
If you could say something to President Trump, to Tom Holland, what would you tell him?
President Trump, start with Ilhan Omar, get her out of here and drag all of this business here, get them out of here. Yeah, we're Americans. Yeah.
So I noticed you've got a for sale sign out here. How much of that decision has to do with the illegals and the Somalis that are here in the neighborhood?
Oh, a lot. It's a major part of our reason why we want to get out of here.
Now, for me, that was hard to watch because I know personal stories exactly like that. And I just got to say, and I'm a black man. I am a black man who loves this country. And what I'm going to say to you guys may be a little controversial. But if you care about saving the America you grew up in, that I grew up in, there is no bigger threat in America right now than unchecked mass immigration. It is a strategy. It's a demographic replacement engineering. The numbers don't lie, folks. That guy is moving out, selling his property, as a ton of Minnesotans are doing. And not just Minnesotans, Ohioans, Texans in some parts. The numbers are these. Since 2021, 12 to 15 million have poured in illegally on our lax visas policies implemented by Democrats and some Republicans. More people than there are in 44 of our 50 states. 7 in 10 are non-European. We went from 85% European descendant in 1965 to under 60% today. With whites or European descendants being a minority by 2024. That's 15 years ahead of schedule. Think about that. Democrats gained every new congressional seat in 2020 and 2024 from immigration-swollen states like California, Texas, and New York, and Minnesota. Immigrants and their kids vote 65 to 70% Democrat. Think about that, especially the second generation. It's not immigration. It's a voter import scheme transforming America without one single public vote. That's what's going on here. The left calls what I just said to you a conspiracy. The data calls it math. Simple math. Not the Common Core math. Just look at the data. We who call ourselves Republicans, conservatives, patriots, we win when the historic American core turns out strong. Democrats win by diluting it with unassimilated masses who don't share our culture, who don't share our values. And we know for a fact that in Minnesota, Tim Walz allowed all these people to come in, and he did not, they gaslight us by saying they don't vote. They can't vote. They can't get on government assistance. But we know that's a lie because we saw in a prior video where if you're stopped at the border, this was the Biden administration's policy. You come to the border. You say, hey, I want asylum. Elon Musk talked about this. What they would do is they would let you in. They'd give you a court date. you are able to get work papers, and with those work papers, you're issued a Social Security number. And it's just that easy. And you never have to see the people in the Social Security office. You never have to have a proper ID. All of that is just swept under the rug. Every amnesty, catch and release, unfinished wall, sanctuary city pushes us toward a permanent one-party, Democrat-ruled state. And the end of conservative America, or patriotic America, or the American ethos as we know it. Lose the demographics, we lose the nation. Border security isn't xenophobia, folks. It's survival. Mass deportation is not extreme. It's the only reversal we have at our disposal before it's too late. Any Republican dodging demographic replacement theory in 2026 is handing over one-party rule by 2036. So we need to say this loud, with no apologies. Secure the damn border. End mass immigration. End anchor babies. 14th Amendment wasn't made for that. It was made to stop Democrats from infringing on the rights of the freed slaves and their children. This whole anchor baby debate just gets me so hot. Gets me so heated. So I'm going to digress. I'm going to pull back from that. We've got to preserve the historic American nation for our kids. We need this for Eli and all of the kids in his generation. If we don't fight now, there'll be no America left to save. And I believe that. I have texts from friends who are concerned about this right now because they are concerned that by the time this all boils to a head, they're going to be too old to fight the fight. And they don't want to leave this to their kids to fight. And I'm in that camp. I'm in that camp. It would be the greatest disappointment of my life to see this all boil to a head and I'm 70 and I can't fight. I mean, I'll fight. I'm still going to be salty and ornery and hopefully ruthless. But I'd rather have that fight now by doing the right thing and having mass deportation. Think about that video you just saw. Think about that guy. Think about the language that those punks, those thugs, those wannabe gangster Somalian idiots, think about the language that they use. Think about the threats that they made. And think about you being a Minnesotan. A Minnesotan. Minnesota nice, that whole thing. Wood chipper, we're not going to talk about that right now. But Minnesota nice. That's what you grew up with. And then one day you open your front door and there's like 30 cars and they're all calling each other the N-word and they're sagging their pants and they're making threats and they're being loud. And just think about that shock. And you look around and you ask, how the hell did this happen? Democrats, that's how it happened. Democrats did that to you. And until you realize that and stand up and go, this can't work. Until you do that, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. And we'll be back right after I calm down and take a swig of whiskey. There you go.
This is Leon Francis with BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
'Tis the season to deport 'em, fa la 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 la. We love ICE and we support 'em, fa la 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 la. Send them on one-way vacations, fa la 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 la. Ramp up those mass deportations. Fa la 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 la. We've deported millions so far. Fa la 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 la. Next we'll deport Ilhan Omar. Fa la 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 la. Look at how those thugs are acting. Fa la 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 la. Let's send those bad hombres packing. Fa la 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 la. As your favorite president who gets along very well with Santa Claus, our gift to you is mass deportations. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Welcome back. Leon Francis here, BlackBeardLogic on the Guns on the 701 Network. I thought a bit of levity was needed. And given the fact that this guy is a brilliant Trump impersonator, and given the fact that the subject matter is on par with the subject matter of this segment, I thought it was pretty funny, and I thought it was pertinent. So we're going to get right into it. You know, we've been gaslit by the Democrat Party and by their apparatus, their lackeys in the media, when we say things like, well, they used to say, you know, the 2020 election was the freest and fairest election ever, and all this nonsense, when we knew the exact opposite was the truth. We knew it. Like anyone with two brain cells that God gave a cricket knew that they were lying about that. I mean, we're not blind, you know, we're not stupid either, you know, we're not Democrats, for God's sake. And I'm going to show you something that Doge found, the Doge team found, and I don't think it's going to shock anybody, especially if you're running my circles. This is stuff we already knew. But just to see it laid out in plain facts and numbers, it shocks the senses. And again, folks like me want to see people go to jail. And one of the things that I would criticize Trump, his administration on, is I just don't think it's going to happen. Like the peons down here, you know, we worry about breaking the law because they will absolutely take us to jail, you know, and the laws that we would break would be minuscule, hunting or, you know, just small infractions. What these people have done, like treason is not strong enough a word. It's just not. But I'm going to start off with this segment. We're going to talk about what obviously has been the biggest story in the country for the last couple of months, especially. But since Trump took office, one of his defining accomplishments, I believe, is the fact that he closed the border. Now, he didn't just close the border. Like, that thing is shut tight. It's a no-go zone for all those idiots. But what's been going on, especially this month, you got Pete Hegseth out there just destroying Venezuelan drug boats. And one slight aside, I know for a fact that there are folks that I consider my friends, folks that I know for a fact are a lot smarter than me, that I respect and have respected for quite a bit of time. And we are on opposite sides of this issue. I happen to believe that when you have a country that is on the tipping point, like Trump said last week, I believe it was, and when you have a country that is this messed up, and we are. I mean, our whole war on drugs, and I remember in the ghetto, folks, it was the mindset was, and this was it was the overwhelming mindset that white folks, the man, with the war on drugs, only seemed to be concerned about the street level dealers. like Tyrone up the street, which is a thing. It's a thing. You got all these low-level folks, and they're going to jail, and you hear these civil libertarians opining about nonviolent drug offenses and yada yada yada. And how come nobody's going after the guys with the planes and the boats and the blah 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 and the billions of dollars? And well, Trump is doing that. He's doing that. That's the thing that he is doing, and I agree with him. Blow all those damn boats right out of the water, and then turn around and scrape them again. That's what I say. And apparently, a lot of my more libertarian-leaning friends are not there. They're on the side of the Democrats, apparently. And it's a mind twister to me. It's like, I think that some of them are clout chasing. What they're doing is they know for a fact that if they go against the grain, they'll get more eyeballs on them. Social media, interviews, media, that sort of thing. They'll get more eyeballs on them. So they'll take this issue and they'll run with it. Now, I am not going to go as far as my good buddy, Bob Wheeler. I'm not going to call anybody out. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say we're going to have to respectfully disagree on this issue. I, for one, believed in the, let's just call it theory, of the daddy's home theory. You know how you and your brothers and sisters got a little too much sugar in you one day, and you just ran your mom ragged, broke stuff in the house, tracked up the living room, and your mom was just like, oh, wait till your dad gets home, and then you're on the sugar high. You're just running around. Things are getting broken. Things are getting messed up. You're not listening to your mom at all. And then dad opens the door. And for about 5-10 minutes, dad's got to be the disciplinarian. He's got to set things right. Some butts are going to be on fire for a brief amount of time while he sets everything right and gets the attitude back adjusted correctly. He's the disciplinarian. And I think that's what we have here with Trump. I think that what they're doing may seem heavy-handed. But given the immensity of the issue and the prevalence of its tentacles in our country, the fact that hundreds of thousands of young people have been dying from fentanyl overdoses. And they're not druggies or junkies or whatever. They pop the Adderall so they could stay up and get and study for that exam or something. And then the first time they did it, they're dead. It's poison. It's time for the men to stand up. And those little girly sissy pants that are whining about constitutional rights and whatnot of Venezuelan druggies, you need to sit the hell down. Yeah, I mean, you just do. Sit this one out. Sit this one out. Go hard in the paint on, like, January 6th. I'm with you, arm in arm. Go hard in the paint on, like, one of the things that I think is that the Trump administration is doing that is great is they're targeting this whole anchor baby thing, which should never have been a thing. That was for black folks born in this country. And back then, the Democrats, they had so many tricks up their sleeves. One of them was, well, this person was a slave, so not a citizen, so that kid's not a citizen, that sort of thing. And so what the Republicans did to combat what the Democrats were doing is they came up with this idea, this law that says, birthright citizenship. You're born here, you stay. But it was not meant for illegals to come pop a squat on this side of the border and pop out a kid, and now they got an anchor in this country. It was never meant to do that, and I'm hoping that the Supreme Court sees fit to do something about that. But anyway, and then you got the whole Somalian thing in Minnesota to the tune of $8 billion. And just so we're clear, Democrats did give millions of illegals Social Security numbers. They absolutely did do that. They absolutely registered those illegals to vote. They absolutely did that. They qualified illegals for maximum Social Security benefits. They did that. They enrolled in Medicaid with those brand new social, and I'm going to play the clip. But these Social Security numbers that they were rolling out, you didn't have to have an ID. They sent them to you in the mail. You're an illegal immigrant. You applied for some work thing, like you go to the border. Hey, I'm afraid. I want asylum. They give you that notice to appear, and then you get a couple of forms to work in the country. You send them in. They ship you a Social Security card. They never saw you. No identification needed. And now you can vote. You can get a driver's license. You can get benefits that the American citizen has been working for. You get that now. You didn't put anything into the system. You broke the law coming over here, and now you are qualified to get all the benefits. And if you think I'm lying, listen to this.
Yeah, so let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of maybe?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff that we're working on. You've heard some of that already. But this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're an illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people, okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we mapped the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep,
No.
They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
So, did you catch that? Did you catch that? That is mind-blowing. In 2021, you see 270,000 people. And then in 2024, it takes all the way up to 2.1 million non-citizens getting Social Security. And I think the final number he said there was 5 million. And then Elon kind of lays it all out on the line. And he's correct. And we've been talking about this for quite some time. The great replacement theory. Americans, we're kind of stubborn. We don't like being fleeced. Sometimes we get a bit rowdy. We understand our Second Amendment rights. So let's get as many of these illegals in here that already come from tyrannical places, already come from crap hole countries, and bring them over here, and they'll be so happy to be here that we won't have to worry about them. And then, the folks that help them come in, Obviously, they got their vote. You see how that works? You see how that works? It's unbelievable to me that this is, not that it's a thing. I mean, Democrats have always been crafty, underhanded, maniacal pieces of crap. They've always been that way since they owned slaves. And they've been pissed off at Republicans since we made them stop using chattel slavery. I mean, that's just been a thing. They're pardon my French, they're just assholes. They are. But I'll digress before my blood pressure gets way up there. You want to know what corruption looks like. You want to know what societal collapse looks like. It looks like this. This is what it looks like. And then you go up to Minnesota. Yeah, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. I want you to take a look at this.
That led to the $250 million being defrauded. She held events at one of the restaurants that was named in the fraud case and had a former staffer who was convicted in the fraud investigation. That's from the New York Post. And 60 of the 79 people who've been indicted in this are from her 5th congressional district there in Minnesota. So a lot of people are saying, wow, there's a lot of potential links here. How much did she know about this?
How much did she know indeed? I've seen her doing the whole media circuit trying to spin this positively in the media and draw some of the heat away from her. But I want to ask you guys a question on the other side of the break. You know, how demonic, how demented, how sick in the head do you have to be? And keep this in mind also. Keep this in mind. When she came in, when she came into Congress, I think she was worth about between $40,000 and $60,000. You want to take a guess on what she's worth now? How about $30 million? $30 million. And think about the programs that they defrauded. Like the lack of moral fiber it takes to defraud autistic kids, to defraud meal programs for the underprivileged. Think about the lack of moral fiber it takes to do something like that. We'll talk about it on the other side of this break.
Hey, it's Leon Francis from BlackBeardLogic on the Guns in the 701 Network. I'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
Anvil Brand LLC, raising and training tomorrow's barrel horses right out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Tracy and her family are great American patriots who not only support the Second Amendment, but they also promoted what you're looking for, top quality barrel horses. Go ahead and give Tracy a call at 701-471-6629 and tell them Guns and 701.com sent you. That's Anvil Brand LLC out of Bismarck, North Dakota.
At Horton Laser Craft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton Lasercraft makes every moment unforgettable. Visit HortonLasercraft.com today and start crafting your perfect gift. For more info, email them at HortonLasercraft@yahoo.com or call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton Lasercraft, where memories are engraved.
T-shirts tucked in, know my worth, can't tell me nothing. White Nikes, albino, pink cop my stilo, hit
Welcome back. It's Leon Francis with BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
Okay, let's go.
I am Leon Francis of BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
So I'm going to apologize for this right off the bat. This is about a minute and a half of pure, unadulterated dumbassery on a scale that will just blow your mind. But this is Hollywood, and this is the kind of garbage that the low information folks out there are ingesting. Because somehow, somewhere, this lady thinks she's smart. Because, you know, she can play a smart person on TV. One, at first, I didn't think it was real. Because there's no way someone could be this dumb. But she's a liberal. So, there you go. This is about a minute and a half of dumbassery that you will never get back. So, I apologize in advance. Go.
Trump. Oh, wow, what a guy. Yes, well, when the orange drips, you know, it's very weird to have, like, a showbiz guy in charge is surreal. I mean, because, well, I'm actually pretty horrified by how strategic and effective this whole thing has been, and I think there's a real disconnect in all of the noise around, like, the individuals that are going to be really taking the hits on a individual, like a human basis, in the trans community, gay community, black community, you know, women, like I hate violence so much, and I just think it's that's the part of it. Like, this country's always had, you know, insanity, but to really have like a death toll and be willing to do that is a pill too great for me to swallow. Like, beyond the sort of dialectic around oligarchs and whatever else, it's like when I think of the kids, or like the 12-year-old girl that can't get an abortion or something, or, you know, it's that's what really, like, rips me apart. That but you know, this is America, to quote Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. So it's nothing we didn't know, but always a horror to see up front, and I don't know.
Wow. That's all I can say is, if there's a 12-year-old that is trying to get an abortion, then an obvious crime has been committed. And so the shame is not Trump's, you know, policy on abortion. That's not. The problem is someone raped this little girl, and she didn't even mention that. Think about that. But, all right, I need to douse my eyeballs with some bleach or something. Just insanity. We'll be right back with more of the show right after this.
This is Leon Francis with BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Leon Francis, BlackBeardLogic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Want to just discuss something, and I'm going to call this, I don't know what I'm going to call this segment, Culture Vulture, Culture Clash, or I don't know. I'll play with that concept for a bit. But what I do want to do is I want to give you like a little window into the mindset of especially black men, because, you know, we're inundated in the media with all these effeminate, ignorant black men, like who's the guy that plays Medea, pushing that homosexual agenda. Like, it's everywhere you look. And I made this point to Chris Bird when he was at Valley News Live, and they had that effeminate homosexual black news reporter, and I told him I can't watch Valley News Live anymore, because when we sit down and we watch the news and we see like all of these newscasters that are, you know, white, male, heterosexual, and they're giving the news, and then my son has to see the only black face locally that looks like me and him, and it's just this little effeminate homosexual. Like, how is that a thing? Like, and back in the day, it'd be controversy for me to be on there because I'm a black conservative and I pretty much say what I think. And back then I had zero filter. So you got 100% straight, unadulterated Leon Francis. So I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but that was a thing. But anyway, I ran across this clip of Joe Brown, and I follow Judge Joe Brown. He's a big Trump supporter from way back. He's an unapologetic heterosexual Christian male. And so I love all those points there. So I want you to listen to this on Dwayne Wade, who is a basketball player, big buck too. Like he, before the whole Gabrielle Union and him transing his son, you look at him and he looks alpha male. And then the system got to him through, I might add, Gabrielle, who is a beautiful black woman, but she is liberal and, in my opinion, demonic. Dwayne got custody of his son away from the boy's mother, who does not agree with this garbage, and she has been fighting him with limited resources. But you have this mega star and model, Gabrielle Union, and this mega athlete, mega money in Dwayne Wade, and she fought a losing battle, and she pretty much lost her son in every conceivable way. But that's just a little background. I want you to listen to the judge here.
Dwayne Wade allowing his son to identify as a female, and how you feel about Dwayne Wade wearing fingernail polish. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's coming out with a fingernail polish line.
That's absolutely astonishingly ridiculous. And I think he swings that way too. It's business, but it's a damn disgrace and a shame. As much as we need real men, you're sitting up there going along. You don't have to be. Remember what I said about this is the first new faith ever. This new one is the first ever that is not about building character. It's about destroying it. In other words, you don't have to be a man. Being a man is an obligation because the human race depends on you. Literally. If it had not been for human masculinity, we would still be playing sheep and cow getting eaten by something big with big teeth, big size, and big appetite. See, it's like this. Humans don't walk around naked. We wear clothes, right? So every other animal has something that distinguishes male and female from female, either smell, behavior. One's bigger than the other one. One's got antlers or horns and the other one doesn't. One of them's got a certain kind of build and way of carrying itself. Humans, since we wear clothes because of the way we're set up, your clothes are supposed to reflect what's underneath. Now, if you see people naked, you know what you're looking at. But when they have clothes on, the cultural adaptation matches the physiological reality. So the clothes, the decorations are supposed to match what you are. So nowadays, we've got boys wearing lipstick, rouge, eyeshadow, mascara, hoop earrings, implants, and wearing nail polish. And instead of boys and girls being able to engage in their favorite sport, girl watching if you're a guy, boy watching if you are a girl, nobody looks because you don't know what the hell you're looking at. The hardest thing as an adult, as a mature person to deal with, the hardest thing is dealing with the opposite sex. So you set up a situation where you make it easy so you don't have to, because you can get your gratification otherwise. That's your business. But don't mess it up for the rest of the people. But they're trying to, so now we don't know what to look at, what to trust when we see something, because our eyes are lying to us.
Yeah. Judge Joe Brown is 100% right here. It all boils down to one very old, very ugly trick. Everything God stamps his image on, the devil tries to slap a fake label over it. God made two sexes, not a spectrum, not a feeling, two, male and female, different on purpose. He gave men wider shoulders, heavier bones, a surge of fight in our blood. And he did that for a reason. We're supposed to stand in the doorway when trouble comes knocking. We're supposed to carry the load so the women and the kids don't have to. We're supposed to say, not on my watch, and mean it. That's pride right there. Not New Age pride. That's not that type of pride. It's pride in the job of being a man. Satan can't build anything real. He can't. He doesn't have that power. So what he does is he counterfeits and corrupts. He takes a boy who may be hurting and confused, maybe just awkward, the way every boy is at 14, and he whispers, "You actually are a girl inside." Takes a man who has been told his whole life that strength is toxic, that masculinity is toxic, and he whispers in his ear, real men wear dresses and they cry and they're emotional. He'll take a kid that stares at a screen 8 hours a day and sell him pills and surgeries. Gives him a new name that says, change the wrapper and the hurt will stop. It's all knock off garbage. Looks shiny for a minute, cracks into pieces the first time life hits it. And it works. Look around. Half the young men I see are scared to raise their voices, let alone raise their hand to stop evil. They're scared to look at a woman and tell her she's pretty because somebody might call them a creep. They've been taught that their instincts are sin, so they should shrink. They apologize for existing. And when real evil shows up, oof, like tyrants, predators, chaos, criminals, they step aside because they don't know what the hell they're even built for anymore. They whip out their cell phones and call the alpha males, the cops, or first responders. And that's the goal. A generation of men with no chest, no fire, no line in the sand. Because a man that doesn't know he's a man will hand you his house keys, his family safety, his freedom, and thank you for taking them off of his shoulders. The image of God is still there. The strength is still there. The blueprint did not disappear just because someone told you it was gone. The Imago Dei is there. Whether you feel it today or not, all you got to do is quit buying the counterfeit. Put the phone down. Pick up something heavy. Look danger in the face and don't blink. What Judge Joe Brown said, that whole rant, stripped down to the bone, delivered like he's sitting across from you at the dinner table, cigarette burning, no filter, you remember, and he just breaks it down so even a fool can't miss it. God made two sexes, period. Man and woman, built for different reasons. Men got size, they got muscle, and they got aggression. Because if they didn't have those things, the human race would have been lunch for something with bigger teeth 1 million years ago. That's it. Masculinity is not optional for a culture. It's the down payment on civilization itself. And Dwayne Wade is a sellout in every measurable way. And he has failed his son miserably. Miserably. He has failed that kid. I feel sorry for that kid. I really do. To have your father, the guy that's supposed to protect and train you, abdicate his responsibility to that evil, vile, vapid woman and turn your son into that. There is a special place in hell for guys like that. And that's just my 2 cents on that. Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic. We'll be right back right after this on the Guns and the 701 Network.
Hey, it's Leon Francis from Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. I'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
Looking for the best gun gear for every and any situation? Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
Starts here. Ever tried catching?
Welcome back. It's Leon Francis with Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it. Welcome back. Leon Francis, Guns and the 701 Network. This is Blackbeard Logic. I was having so much fun that I almost forgot about the swag. Look at the swanky swag Sexy Fred here is wearing. That sweet 701 Nation swag. Look at that. Got that from my good buddy Jamie. Over the weekend, we met him out there in Fargo in the land of fruits and nuts, I like to say. We're trying to do something about that. So this is the last segment in this show. And I guess before we wrapped up the last segment, we were talking about the fraud out there in Minnesota, which is one other little piece of swag. Jamie, look at that sweet swag right there. Can you get that? Look at that. Oof, that's sexy right there. But anyway, Minnesota fraud. It's enough. It's enough to drive you to drink. It really is. The amount of money that we are being fleeced out of by some truly demonic and horrific people. I got some numbers here. Multiple fraud schemes in Minnesota. The Feeding Our Future case. Obviously, $250 million. Let's see. Another group built a state and housing stabilization scheme costing taxpayers over $104 million. Another group claimed to provide treatment for autistic children with one provider charging $14 million in taxpayer funds. They spent those dollars on luxury cars, mansions, foreign companies, real estate projects in foreign countries and in different states. All of that on the taxpayer dime. And as I think in that last clip, in the last segment, it mentioned out of like 70 people that were indicted, 60 of them were Somalians from Ilhan Omar's district. That is amazing. Yet we're supposed to believe that she didn't know nothing. She didn't know nothing. Didn't do nothing. It's like a meme. If you want to know what a societal collapse looks like, that's what it looks like. This right here. And I'm going to take I don't want to say a moral path, but I want you to think about this. The type of morality a person involved in this type of grift has to have. And they're not Christian. But let's just get that out of the way right off the bat. They're not Christian. These people are not Christian that are perpetrating this amount of fraud. This fraud targets kids. Think about that. Think about the lack of moral fiber you have to siphon funds straight out of the programs that are supposed to feed hungry kids in Minnesota. Think about that. Suitcases full of cash, fake invoices, shell companies, brand new Lamborghinis parked in front of Section 8 housing. And I saw a microcosm of this growing up. It's a thing. It's a thing. And these state officials, they knew. They knew. Way back in 2019, they knew. Auditors were screaming, but they did absolutely nothing about it. You know why? Because the people running the scams were from a protected class. It'd be racist to call them out on that. Shutting down this fraud might cause somebody to be called a racist. I don't know, on Twitter or Facebook or something. So they let this theft roll on for years. For years. And we're supposed to believe that Tim Walz and Ilhan and Keith Ellison didn't know anything about it? No. Nope. That is moral inversion in its purest form. When looking compassionate became more important than actually protecting the vulnerable. When the fear of being called a bigot outweighed the cries of hungry kids and autistic kids. And don't kid yourself. This type of sickness, it didn't stop at some nonprofit in Minneapolis. No. It's the same rotten spirit that whispers, you can end a human life in the womb and still call it health care. This is a Democrat, moral, decency issue. I mean, all the money aside, because believe me, people were getting kickbacks. You don't roll on with fraud like this. You're fresh off the boat. Fresh off the boat. And you're running, what, $7 billion fraud schemes on a first world country in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Like, nah, buddy. I mean, the first time I saw the Nigerian prince scam, I knew it was a scam, you know. These people are not smart. I mean, they're not smart. I mean, come on now. This same mindset is the mindset that tells people that, you know, you can steal from the poor, mutilate your body, celebrate degeneracy, burn cities, silence dissent, as long as I use the right slogans. And that makes you one of the good guys, apparently, if you do all that. That's not progress, guys. That's moral relativism, the gateway drug to every evil men have ever committed. The truth becomes whatever feels right in the moment. The strong devour the weak, and they call it justice. And there's only one antidote. That's objective truth. That's it. Unchanging, written not in the trending hashtags, but in the eternal word of God. And until we fall on our knees and admit that right and wrong is not up for a vote, it's not up for a hashtag, it's not up for a social justice warrior mentality. It's not up for that. It's right and wrong. Objective truth. And we can't fix this with better bureaucrats. We can't. You can't get a better politician to fix this or a tougher audit to fix this. Because, again, I believe all the low-level people are going to get deported. A couple of them might go to jail. But all of the higher-ups, all of the people in power, all of the people that you need to pull off this type of scam because they're getting paid, none of those guys are going to see a day in jail. Not even Ilhan Omar. We don't have the political will. We just don't. And it's pretty sad, actually, to live in a first world country, to be as educated as we think we are, to have people in Washington run open scams like this on us, and we continue to pay. We continue to allow them to steal our tax dollars. We have controlled opposition for the most part. Heads should roll. Once upon a time, we were a country that would be a thing. Heads would literally roll. We should get back to that. Now, I'm not advocating violence. I'm not a violent man, despite, that battle axe and the sword and the AR and the SOG knife and the ammo and all that. That's nothing. That's nothing. No, seriously, I'm not a violent man. I'm not. But I look at stories like this, and again, there's tons of info, and I can go through it. But it is as enraging as it is depressing to know that this happens in our country, and it doesn't matter who's in power. That money's gone. You'll never see it. You'll never see a dime of that money. The whole USAID fraud. It's kind of quiet now, right? There should be public trials for those people. Our CIA is still running scams all over the world, siphoning off billions of dollars, for the greater good of America. Regime change in other countries. The same type of regime change that led to 100,000 Somalians, by the way, being in our country. We did that. Over there messing in other folks' business. That's how we got the Somalians here. And they took full advantage of liberal white people. They did, because they're gullible. They're it stuns me how gullible white liberals are. I mean, it just stuns me. Like, they're literally like, take my money. And if it wasn't my money also, I wouldn't care. They're getting fleeced. But it's not their money. It's our money, And it makes me mad. And that's about all I'm going to say on that. As a matter of fact, I need a little bit of Jesus. So, in closing, what I'm going to do for this segment is I created this week a video, and I called it Christ OS. Some of you folks may know that I am an IT guy by trade. I am a network engineer. I build out networks, I upgrade and optimize networks, racking and stacking, running the cable, end-to-end terminations, that sort of thing. Just all kinds of really fun, cool things, right? I build ARs in my spare time. But I was thinking about it because the week prior I made a video, and it got a ton of views, really good interactions, really good interactions. And it was more kind of not poking fun at, but calling out the folks in the IT world, basically, for the whole safety standard that we now all apparently enjoy. And so I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about the fact that a lot of those guys are atheists and agnostic. And so I created this video to kind of, not not disparage, but to show you my mindset, as I walk through both sides of that debate. Like, I'm an IT guy. No doubt it's, my bread and butter. It's how, we eat and all of that. But I am also a patriot. And I also work out. I also train. I also, if something is happening, I'm going to be the first responder. If it's happening in my neighborhood, in my house, in my community, I will be a first responder. 100%. But, and I believe the two worlds are simpatico. I really do. And I think the component that my IT friends are missing is the upgrade that I talk about in this video. I call it Christ OS. And here it is.
Jesus said it plain. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. That's John 10:10. He's right, And right now, the thief is working overtime. Never in history has Satan been this good at his craft. He doesn't attack you in a vacuum. He attacks the family you come from, the family you're building, the family you wish you had. Because he knows, breaks the family, and the individual is naked, isolated, desperate for belonging, and will run straight into his arms. That longing you feel for connection, for sacrifice, for legacy, God wired it into you on purpose. Satan just hijacks the signal. He offers a counterfeit upgrade. You don't need blood, you need vibes. You don't need covenant, you need cohabitation. You don't need father and mother, you need parent 1 and parent 2. You don't need lifelong fidelity. You need self-expression. And every time we download that corrupted patch, the family system crashes a little more. Divorce rates skyrocket. Fatherless homes multiply. Children scroll for love on screens because no one is giving it to them at home. The bugs, they're not accidents. They are the feature of this corrupted software. The enemy's strategy hasn't changed since Eden. Divide the home, isolate the soul, and sell the lie that freedom is found alone. But there is another operating system. One that never crashes. One that was written before the foundations of the world. That operating system is Christ OS. Install it once. Repentance, faith, baptism, and watch the entire network come alive. Marriages heal, children flourish, generations lock shields. The thief still prowls, but now he's on the outside looking in, clawing at walls that will not fall. So here's the choice. Keep running the devil's malware and wonder why everything keeps breaking. Or wipe the drive clean and let the author of life reinstall his original code. Because abundant life isn't a slogan. It is a household running on software it was designed for. Choose this day whose system you will operate. As for me and my house, we're running Christ OS, full version, no patches needed. Forever. BlackBeardLogic. 701 Network. Stay tuned.
So that was my ode to my IT friends. I hope you enjoyed that. I did. And speaking with some of them, you know, I mean, they're not going to get baptized tomorrow, but they get it. You know, sometimes you got to meet folks where they are. Some of us, you know, like I tend to believe that I wear my brand of Christianity on my sleeve. I want people to know that I'm a Christian. I want them to know that I am flawed. And I want them to also know that I've been redeemed by the blood of my Savior. And I'm not going to get preachy, and I always say that. But I'm not going to get preachy. But I don't know where I'd be had I not rekindled that fire that my mom and dad started in me all those years ago. I don't know where I'd be. I don't know that I'd be here. I don't know that I'd have my wife, Nicole. I don't know that I'd have Eli running around here. As a matter of fact, I'm almost positive that I would not have that little guy had I not rekindled that flame. I know that for a fact. He is a miracle. He is a gift to Nicole and I for doing the right thing. And don't tell anybody that. I think more people need to hear testimony from like regular guys like me. I don't have a big private jet. I don't have fancy cars. I got the old Dodge out there that me and Eli work on. You know, I don't have like fancy jewelry or anything like that. No, I'm just me. And I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it's not enough. But if it was easy, it wouldn't be right, in my humble opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Tony, I've been a fan of Tony's for a while. Hopefully we get the whole Fargo situation straightened out. There's a lot that's going on there and a lot that needs to be done there. And hopefully we get that hopefully that all shakes out. You got the folks at Fargo First, you got Tony, you got some other guys, the Fargo area conservatives and folks like that are rolling up their sleeves and they're getting after it the way you should. And as long as we keep God first, as long as we do that and we chuck our chins and keep going forward, I think we're going to be all right. I mean, we're going to be mad. Democrats do very, very stupid things. Things that hurt our country, hurt our economy, hurt other folks. And again, I'm not going to dig into it hard, but we got to stop going to other countries and telling them how to live. And then, you know, right here at home, we just have all these problems. We got to stop doing that. We need to pull our resources right back here and work on this problem. And you know how I know that? Because I had to do that myself with my family. So, God bless. Good night. This is BlackBeardLogic, Guns in the 701 Network. 701 Nation, 100%. Good night.